Boker or Masechet Nedarim Daf Ayin Zayin Mudalev 77A1 says the Gemara Tanan Hatam. We learned over there in a Mishnah Kuf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph. Mefirim Nedarim b'Shabbat. You're allowed to do a Tarat Nedarim, Hafarat Nedarim. Sorry, on Shabbat. Venishalin Nedarim Shel Tzorech Shabbat. You're also allowed to do Hatarat Nedarim if they're Tzorech Shabbat. So one more time. Hafarat Nedarim, for sure you have to do on Shabbat. But if you don't do it on Shabbat, it's the Varaved. Yeah, it's going to be completely lost. You're going to lose out completely. Right? That means you're allowed to do a Farat Nedarim on Shabbat. But even a Hatarat Nedarim, you're allowed to do on Shabbat if it has Tzorech Shabbat.
So the Hechal is for one that was made in the last 24 hours?
Yes. Or when he heard it today. So we asked the question, 1 second. When you do a Farat Nedarim Shabbat, is that also L'Tzorech Shabbat? Or even without L'Tzorech Shabbat? So Tashema, the Tani Rav Zuti ba Debei Rav Papi, that taught Rav Zuti in the academy of Rav Papi, you could only do a Farat Nedarim for the Tzorech of Shabbat. So says the Amar Ravashi, Ravashi says, we didn't learn that. Nadraim Chashicha, we said that if you did a neder on the day of Shabbat, you do after that nedarim until nighttime. If you're going to tell me it's Tzorech Shabbat, if it's only Tzorech Shabbat, you could do it, and if it's not Tzorech Shabbat, you cannot do a Farat Nedarim. What do you care about Chashicha? Even if it's going to be the same day, you can't do a Farat Nedarim because it's not considered Tzorech Shabbati. You understood the question? One more time. We said at the beginning of the Braita, you could do a Farat Nedarim Shabbat. We didn't make any condition. Then we said you could do a Tarat Nedarim on Shabbat, but only in Tzorech Shabbat. So we asked 1 second. What about the Hafara? Hafara also needs to be Tzorech Shabbat or not? So the Gemara says, yes, it has to be Tzorech Shabbat. Ask the Gemara, Ravashi asked, so now what are you talking about? We just said that if a person made a neder 10 minutes right before the end of Shabbat, the husband has 10 minutes to do a Farat Nedarim. Now 1 second. Why do we say that? What happens if it wasn't Tzorech Shabbat? Let's say it was some neder. So even if it was in the middle of the day, he cannot do a Farat Nedarim. That means if she did a neder on Shabbat, or he found out about it on Shabbat, Kaddish. But it's not L'Tzorech Shabbat. So answers the Gemara, you're right, Tanahi. It's Machloket Tanaim. Hafarat Nedarim kol hayom. Hafarat Nedarim could be done all day. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon amru, met le. So Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Shimon say, 24-hour period. This was the zug that we spoke about before. The couple, right, that we said about before, that they said that 24 hours. Met let. Le manda amar, according to the manda amar kol hayom, the entire day in tfei lo, but more not. So even if it's not going to be L'Tzorech Shabbat, you could do Hafarat Nedarim. But according to the Mandamar Met Le'et, right, that you have 24 hours, L'Tzorech Shabbat, you could do it. L'Tzorech Shabbat, don't do it. Why? Do it after Shabbat. Yeah, what's the problem? Yeah, right now you come and you make a neder. Yeah, you come and you make a neder. Yeah, now if you have a come, right? If you come and you say, right? If you come and you say, right? If you come and you say, so the Gemara says, right, that what? That's what we wanted to make it, a machloket tanaim. So therefore, it actually comes out, it's a machloket tanaim. So if you come and you say that it's going to be asur to do a Farat Nedarim on Shabbat, right? So that's obviously going to be, according to the opinion, you have 24 hours. Okay? Fine. Next. Venishalin lindarim she'el Tzorech Shabbat. You're allowed to do a hatarat nedarim if it's for Tzorech Shabbat. We were going to ask a question. Keshelo yalem pnai. Okay, fine. Let's say it was Tzorech Shabbat. Let's say they made a neder, they don't want to eat meat or fish. Tzorech Shabbat, Oneg Shabbat, meat, fish. Okay, fine. What happens if they had time to do it before Shabbat? The Hatarat. We're talking about Hatarat Nedarim here. Are we talking about that they had the time to do it before Shabbat and still it's mutar because it's Tzorech Shabbat? Or we're talking about you didn't have time to do it before Shabbat, so now it's already here. This we ask all the time. Right? That means when you already have a heter to do it, for example, on Yom Tov, you have an heter to cook. If you even if you had the time to do it before or not, it's a very famous question. So the same thing. So whether you didn't have time to do it before the Shabbat or you did have the time to do it before Shabbat. So Tashema, we're going to try to bring a proof. These dakiki rabbanan livrei derav zutra bere derav that the once happened that the Chachamim came on Shabbat to the son of Rav Zutra, right? Bere derav zeera. Even if you had time to do it on Erev Shabbat, you could do a Tarat Nedarim on Shabbat if it was L'Tzorech Shabbat. So Savar Rav Yosef Lemeimar, Rav Yosef thought to say, Nishalin Nedarim Shabbat b'yachid mumche in v'shalosh editot lo. You could only do a Tarat Nedarim on Shabbat with a yachid mumche. What's a yachid mumche? When you have a rabbi that he's such an expert, he's a yachid, he's an individual, but he's a mumche, he could do a Tarat Nedarim by himself. If not, then you always take 3 people. And you take 3 people together, and then they do a Tarat Nedarim. So he says you could only do it with a Yachid Mumche, but to take 3 people and do a Tarat Nedarim doesn't help. Why? You shouldn't be Chazek Kedina, because it looks like a Bedin. You're not allowed to do a Bedin on Shabbat. Right? Maybe you're going to write, maybe you're going to do this, maybe you're going to do that. So therefore, you're not allowed to do Bedin on Shabbat. So therefore, Yachid Mumche, one rabbi that's an expert. Okay? So Elmaleh Abai says, since we hold that you could do even standing up, Va'afilu bikrovim, or even with family members, Va'afilu balayla, and even at nighttime, lo mitchazek kedina. It's not din. Meaning, when you have to do a bedin, you have to be sitting down. When you have to do a bedin, it has to be during the day, it cannot be during the night. When you have to do it, and it cannot be family members if it's a bedin. So the fact that you could do a tarat nedarim with family members, you could do a tarat nedarim right at nighttime, and you could do a tarat nedarim standing up. So therefore, it's not like a bedin. So you could do it even on Shabbat, and there's no problem, even with 3 people. Why? You could use family. I did that, right? Somebody I remember, it was during COVID. A woman went and she made a neder. I had to do a tarat nedarim, right? So I went and I did a tarat nedarim with 3 people. 2 of them were families. What? אני אגיד לך, אני לא רוצה לגלות את זה. אבל ברגע שאני אומר, אני כבר אומר. אוקיי, פיין, אני לא... טוב. Yeah? Yeah, so basically it's going to be a problem. Okay, Amar Rabbi Abba Amar Ravuna Amar Rav. So I actually used two people that were family members also as a Tarat Nedarim.
You do 2 people from the family?
That's what we just said. Afilu krovim. Yeah, even family members. Amar Rabbi Abba Amar Ravuna Amar Rav. Says Rabbi Abba name of Ravuna Amar Rav. Alacha mefirin nedarim b'layla. The alacha is you could also do a Tarat Nedarim or a Farat Nedarim b'layla. You could do a Farat Nedarim in the night time. So says the Gemara V'matiti. So Mishnah. The Mishnah said Nadra b'leil Shabbat that you could do it even in the night time. We didn't only have to do it during the daytime, you could do it during the night. So it's a Mishnah Mefureshet. Ela ema halacha nishalim balayla. The halacha is that you could even do hatarat nedarim in the nighttime. Hafarat nedarim for sure, it's a Mishnah Mefureshet. Even a tarat nedarim you could do in the nighttime. Amar Rabbi Abba Ravuna, says Rabbi Abba to Ravuna, Amar Rav, Hachi, does Rav actually say this? Elmaleh, he says ishtik. He went and he said shatak. He says he kept quiet. Right? I mean, the fact that I said it and he kept quiet means he agreed. Elmaleh ishti kamarta or shati kamarta? Did you say that he was shatak, or did you say right sheti kamarta? What is shete kamarta? He for example shete mashke, like as if say like drink this, which means you have a safek in the kavanah of Rav. Is it that he's mashote because be'emet he's maskim, right? Or is it the opposite, that he's mashtik utcha, that he's keeping you quiet? You understand? Sometimes when somebody says a nonsense, sometimes you keep quiet. Why? Either because it's such a nonsense you don't even bother, right? Or sometimes it's because Bemet, you agree with him. Which one is it? Somebody says something. Yeah? Imagine right now, John Doe says something. Yeah? And now I keep quiet. There's 2 things. Either because Bemet, hu tzodek, right? He's right. Or Bemet, he said such a shtuyot that I don't even bother answering. I don't even bother. So which one is it? So Amar Ravika bar Avin says Ravika bar Avin is the kikle Rav le Rabba. Once Rav, he needed to be Matina Neder in front of Rabba. Ein Zayin Mubet 77b. Bekitona dever Rav. What is Bekitona? In the cheder of the Bet Midrash. Omed Yechidiu Balayla. So Rav was doing it in the nighttime. He told he was kasher for Tarat Nedarim, and his shtika was actually bemed, was because he was maskim. Why? Because he did it standing up. He did it by himself, and he did it in the nighttime. So Amar Rav Nachman Alachad Nishalim Darim Omed Yechidiu Balayla v'Shabbat v'Krovim Afilu Helem Panaim B'Od Yom. Look how all the heterim. You could do it standing up. You could do it by yourself, which means you don't need to do it, with 3 people. You could do it in the nighttime. You could do it on Shabbat. You could do it with family members, and you could do it even though you could have done it on Erev Shabbat.
But you need somebody who's mumche, no?
100%. If it's a yachid, you need a mumche. Rav was a mumche.
If you have 3 that are not, there's no mumche within the 3.
Doesn't exist.
No.
You need 3. You need 3. Either you need 1 mumche or 3 ediotot.
But the 3 ediotot are not going to be bedin. They don't need to sit.
No, they don't need to sit. That's what we just said. They could do it standing up or sitting down.
So basically,
or shooting darts.
You just don't need a bedin.
No, you need shalosh ediotot. You need 3 people to permit, but you don't need a bedin. You don't need a bedin.
Shooting dogs, that means that it doesn't have to concentrate.
It says the Gemara, Omed? What? Can a chacham do a taran nedarim standing up? I tell you, we learned on the Braita, Yarad Rabbi Gamliel min chamor, v'nitatef, v'yashav, v'atilo nidro. Says Rabbi Gamliel, he got off the donkey. That means he was riding on a donkey. He got off the donkey, he put on his talit, he sat down, and he did a taran nedarim. Answers the Gemara, Rabbi Gamliel savar em potchim b'charata mekar nidra ba'inam. He says, according to Rabbi Gamliel, you don't start with a charata, meaning we don't open up a charata for you, but rather mekar nidra ba'inam. So therefore, right, if right now you have to oker the neder by finding a petach, ubay yunis, so therefore you need a lot of iyun. So ahachi yashav, that's why he went and he sat down. Meaning, since it was that you had to find and investigate a petach, petach is like an opening in order to do a charata, you know, the charata, or in order to come and to do a taran nedarim. There you have to look into it. So therefore he got off, sat down. He needs menuchat, you know, he needs his mind for that. But Nachman savar potchim b'charata. But according to Nachman, he says you just start with doing charata. Do you regret what you just did? You always regret what you just said. No problem. Okay, taran nedarim, mutalach, that's it. So for you don't have to be ma'ayen. You could do it shooting darts. Yeah, shooting arrows. Yeah. Vafilu meumad. Amaleh Rava Rav Nachman says Rav Nachman Chazi Mor Hai Merabanan Data Marava. Did the rabbi come and see this chacham that he came from Eretz Yisrael and he says Zukilu Rabbanan Livrei Rav Huna Baravim. Shalom Nidre. They came and they permitted his neder. And they told him Zilu Bay Rachamei Nafshach Bechatat. Go ask mercy for yourself, but you sinned. The Tani Rav Dimi Achu Ad Rav Sapra Kol Anoder Ava Bishum Kaimoni Krachute. That means he went and he said, listen, you know what? I went and I did a taran nedarim. He says, okay, but did you ask for forgiveness? He says, why forgiveness? He says, you're a sinner. You made a neder. Even if you're mekayem the neder, you're a sinner. We learned this already. If you're going to stop doing the neder, you're not going to have a sin. That means if you didn't stop doing the neder, means you still have a sin. Right? That means the fact that you made the neder is already a sin. Okay? Fine. Anyway, this just shows us the importance of not making nedarim. Tanya, we learned in a Braita. Somebody that comes and he tells his wife, right? If a person comes and he says, any neder you want, I don't want them to be a neder. Right? Enze neder, right? Or, right, he told her, enze neder, it's not a neder, lo maklum, he didn't say anything. Right? Why? Because at the end of the day, it's not a farah. It's just saying, I'm not happy with it, or I'm not content, but it's not a farah, so it's not a farah. If he says, yafeh asit, en kemotech, yeah, you see this comes from the Gemara. En kamocha, there's no one like you. You're the only one. You know, en kemotech, or yafeh asit. It's good what you did. V'im lo nadart madir, and if you wouldn't have done it, I would have done it for you. If you wouldn't have made that neder, I would have made that neder for you. Devarav kayamin, that is going to be good because these are lishonot of kiyum. These are lishonot of validating the neder. Okay, Tanya, we learned on the Braita. Lo yomar adam lishto b'Shabbat. A person should not come and say on Shabbat mufar lechi or batel lechi kedesh sheomer bechol. Don't say the same terminology. That means even though you're allowed to do it on Shabbat, don't use the same terminology that you would use on Shabbat. Ela, but rather, Omela, he says, tzli v'ichli, tzli ushti, v'aneder batem elav. Take and eat, take and drink, and then the neder is done on its own. It's annulled. Because when you do mufal, it's a degrading thing on Shabbat. You don't want to do that on Shabbat. So what did you say? You made a neder, you're not going to have tea on Shabbat. I come and say, tzli v'shti. Take and drink. By doing that, the neder is already batel. That's already the farat nedarim. I don't want to use the same terminology on Shabbat, mufar lechi, or batel lechi.
למה זה מילות חול?
כן, זה כמו משהו של חול, זה לא טוב. אוקיי? זה מה שהוא אומר פה. אף על פי שהפרת נדרים מותרת בשבת, right? יש לעשותה בשינוי ממה שרגילים לעשות בחול. Do it בשינוי. זה לא יפה לעשות הפרת נדרים בשבת. So you do it בשינוי. Do it with a difference. Okay? So he says, but you have to do bitul in his heart. That means in your heart, you do have to say, mufalach, 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 or batelach, batelach, batelach. You do have to do it in your heart. But no, because in Balev, hiruri mutarim. Hiruri mutarim. You're allowed to do whatever you want in your mind.
We
also learned to write, Bet Shammai only Bet Shammai says, B'Shabbat, right, which means that the husband that's going to come and he's going to do it on Shabbat, mevatel belibo, bechol mutzi bisfatat. That means during the weekday, you have to mamash take it out of your mouth. Bet Hillel says, echad ze vechad ze, doesn't matter whether it's going to be b'Shabbat or not, mevatel belibo. You're going to be mevatel belibo. Ve'en tzrich lo tzvi. So that means there's machloket. During the weekday, do you have to actually mamash spell it out? Or just in your heart? And that's already enough. There's machloket. So Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, chacham shamar b'lashon ba'al, u'ba'al shamar b'lashon chacham. Whether it's that the Chacham said it in the Lashon of the Baal that he says a neder mufarlach. Remember, hafara is only the husband, right, or the father, but hatara is the chacham. So what happens if the chacham said mufarlach? That means he used the wrong terminology. Or the husband that he said mutarlach, and it was wrong. It's a neder mutarlach. It's not mutarlach. It's mufarlach. Lo amar klum. They didn't do anything. The time was learned to the Braita zeh davar achacham matir v'nebal matir. When it says zeh davar asher tzivah Hashem, this is the word, the thing that Hashem commanded. That the chacham is matir the neder. The husband cannot be matir a neder. So yachol chacham she'enu mefer matir. I would have thought to say that a chacham that cannot do a faran nedarim, but he could do matir nedarim. Baal shemefer enu dir shematir. So 1 second. But the husband has more power than the rabbi. Because the husband does hafara. Hafara is much stronger than hatara. Right? So he comes and he says, so I would have thought to say if the husband could do hafara, the husband could do hatara. Hamulomar comes to teach you, zeh davar. Ein chet mudalef. What is zeh davar? Chacham matir v'embal matir. Right? That the husband, that the chacham is matir. The husband cannot be matir. Okay? And then we continue with Bezat Hashem.